All right. What's going on, everyone? How are you? We are here on a new episode of the Juan Solo Show with your host, me, Juan D. Clouser. This is episode 309 of this great and wonderful podcast I do by myself, in a room by myself, probably just for myself. You might be like, whoa, buddy, what's going on here? You don't have that little tarp thing, that changing screen thing behind you on this one. Now you have a wooden one behind you on your further back. So yeah, this is an idea I had. Clearly, as you can tell, it is not fully done. There's no lights. The only lights I'm using is actually on stage lights, which are just basically backlights. So I just didn't look like I'm talking into a dungeon. I'm probably going to still have to boost the levels when I get into editing to edit this episode. But the cool thing about this is I'm standing up. The eventual plan is to have another camera doing an even master of a shot, showing more of this area over here, which now I'm learning I'm going to have to cover up the top, all that stuff. I'm going to pull out flags and everything, and I'm just seeing where I'm like, okay, so if that's the backdrop, then I need to build it up a little bit more. There's things I can do. It's a cool idea. This is the great thing. You guys are seeing the first evolution of this new version. I really just wanted to try doing something different. In the sense of standing, I thought maybe it might be more helpful, might slow me down a little bit. I think the next thing I need to start doing, I've been doing enough podcasts. First was doing the podcast. That was episode, that was the first, 100 episodes. Then the second 100 were trying to not say, I guess that was a little bit of the first as well, but more of trying to figure out a style, figure out just talking, just being able to talk. Then we got into the 250s, and I was like, okay, at this point I need to start figuring out a new style, a straight, maybe a format, a better format, I used to do with the Beer and Friendship Show. And after that, now where we're at now is I'm you know what, let's get then I got a really nice backdrop, and I was lighting things well, and I had a studio where it was just set up, and I didn't have to worry about the lighting. And the thing is, it's gonna be fine. How the idea I have with the lights is gonna work brilliantly. I think it's more or less just being all right, man, let's get all these chords out. It's pretty much the thing. But this one, I really wanted to, now, since we're the 300s, the beginning of the 300s, I was listening to this, so I either listen to podcasts or I listen to these, I guess my version of self-help, or more of presentation self-help stuff. And one of the things they were talking about, how I always thought it was good to be able to talk really fast and like that. And I thought it'd be a good skill to have, because it would help me being able to keep my brain really like that. And it just, because the whole reason why, one of the big reasons why I started doing this podcast was because I was I felt I was stuttering a lot. And I'm okay, I need to start doing something to train my brain, basically just make my brain to do push-ups and sit-ups and curls and squats, a different version of that. So that's what this was. I was okay, I work out my arms and I work out my legs. Well, I need to work out my brain too. Some people do puzzles. Some people play chess. I do a podcast to learn how to talk and to be able to function and just do a thing. And it only helps with production wise, because I really want to, because my whole thing is I like being behind the camera. I only am in front of this thing just as a subject matter, so I have something to talk about, something to have to edit and to fool around with. That's just why I do that's why I did the vlog stuff, which is something I should probably start doing again. What I need to do is just clear off this credit card I have, because I have $400 left on it. I need to clear it off and then just use that and rent a car and just drive around and just see the world again and just have a camera and just start filming again. And not really have like an idea, or have an idea, because I want to go to like weird locations. I just like going to weird locations, and then like just filming like B-roll footage, having a little story behind it, like where I go, and then just then I just need to learn how to like add a little bit more spice to it, because I was thinking I'm like that's a good meat, that's a good main story, but I need a story A to go in front of it, because story B would be the main part, because how I would structure it would be story A would be the first thing, and we would introduce that as like a little snippet, and then we would go and I would intro like, hey, and I'd be already on the road. I'd be halfway on the road. I'd be like, hey, I've been driving for the last hour or so, like that. I just pulled over on the side of the road to stop and record this part. This is what we're doing. Hey, how are you guys? This is a new episode. This is what we're going to do. We are going to such and such because there's a such and such thing there. And doing that, we are going to see this, and that. And so that's the thing. And then I would be like, okay, so you remember like in the beginning of the clip, like, and I'd introduce story B or story A more, and I'll do part 2 of story A. And then the next scene would be beginning of part of story C, part 1 is C. And then that's how I do it, because it would be like we were out on the road, and then I would want to shoot it back. As you can tell, I'm kind of brainstorming this. And then what we do is we would shoot back into like me in the studio right here, and I'm like setting up the lights. I'm like, hey, we're setting up these lights. I like you see like my garage, like you see my garage. I'm like, okay, so like I'm going to set up some lights, but all my lights are somewhere in here. And then we would intro, and I would start showing you like, I'd be like, okay, like we'd pull out this, we'd pull out that, and then we'd cut to like me talking to like, I'm like, yeah, I remember I had this. Oh my God, I totally forgot I had that. I'm like, oh my God, this will work great. And then we'd go back to like me going and doing a little bit more like searching again. And like, I'm like, okay, great. Okay, well, I'm like, all right, we got all this stuff. Now I'm going to start setting up these lights. While that's going on, let's go back to let's go back to the road again. This was just basically because I was driving, so I wanted to like break that up, because I wouldn't, and then boom, we would cut back to like the museum. I'm like, okay, now we're in front of the museum, and we were introing part 2 of B, and then that's how it'd be. And then from there, you do B a little bit, and then you'd go and you finish A. You do part 3 of A, and then after part 3 of A, you'd probably go back to part 2 of C, and you'd be like, okay, well, I've done this light, I've set up these lights, I've set up these lights, let's see what this looks like, and voila. And then at that point, I'd be like, hey, so yeah, like this is just, I'm setting these lights up for this podcast. Hey, if you don't know, I also do a podcast as well. It comes out every Tuesday. Do a little intro, a little plug onto it, like talk like this, act like I'm doing a podcast, but all I'm doing is just talking into the thing. And then I'd be like, all right, well, yeah, that's about it. That's about it, guys. Yeah, so enjoy the rest of the thing, and then I'd go back to like enjoy the rest of the vlog, and then that would be my breakups of the podcast, the vlog. I think that's how I could do it. God damn it, guys! I think I might have figured out a way of doing a podcast now. And I'm okay. I'm kind of glad I waited. So I was going to do this podcast on Friday, but what happened on Friday was that I was heading to work, and what actually happened on Thursday, I was at work, and like I kind of tweaked my back a little bit, and I'm like, okay, there's no big deal. And then I got to work on Friday, and I picked up something slightly heavy, and I moved it, and I tweaked my back just enough, and it was one of those, it wasn't like a glute pull or anything like that, like, like you're above glute, some people think it's like your lower back, but really what it is your glute. It's your glutes, and it's your sciatic muscles. This one was, it was one of my discs in my back. One of them like came out of place, because there's one of them that's like can come out really easily. And when that happens, it like, then I get like, it starts off with like sciatic pain, but then it also just hurts to like stand for a while, hurts to sit for a while. There's really no way of getting comfortable. You're just like kind of sore, and there's really nothing you can do. You just have to wait for it to like basically, because it's like a muscle that cramps up, and so there's really nothing you can do until the muscle relaxes itself and allows it and it just goes back to normal. So that's basically I was doing. That's what I was doing this whole weekend. I was gonna do it. Then I was gonna do it yesterday, but I was like on Saturday. But then I was like, no, let's not do it Saturday, because I'm not really in the mood to fucking be talking, because I can't be standing. And then what happened was right before this podcast, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I smoked a little bit of pot, and I coughed, and I leaned over like this because my back hurts. So I leaned up against the wall, and I leaned down, and I coughed, and I felt it like go back in, and it's still a little stiff. Like I can't like, now if you were to tell me, if you're like, hey, can you go like deadlift? I'm like, no, it's gonna hurt. I'm gonna re-hurt myself. Nothing like that. But I can stand. I've been standing this entire podcast, and it's not been hurting. So that's a sign that it's getting better. And also that I'm just becoming an old man. It's just old injuries. Like, and the thing is, like, guys, I weigh like 205 right now, and I just have all this mass, and so I feel like I'm wasting it by not lifting a little bit heavier now. And so by doing that, it requires me to do. It has more body parts have to do. So what happens, at least for me, is that like my body will like atrophy or build up, whichever one I'm doing. So if I'm trying to do like lightweight long sets, I'm doing like more of a cardio based muscular, like having lean muscle. What happens is that my tendons get a little bit softer, my bones get a little bit softer, everything is a little bit looser, because my body's like, okay, well, we don't have to have all this bulk and all this weight, because there's no need for it, because we're not lifting a lot of weight. Because when you lift a lot of weight, your tendons, your bones, everything, that's why like your bones ache when you start lifting really, really heavy and you're eating a lot of protein. That's why your bones ache, because like literally everything has to grow, because your body's like, oh shit, we are in some weird sort of survival mechanism thing that's going on, because your body has no idea that we live in the 2000s. Your body still thinks that we're nomadic creatures. Our body has no idea that we now live in houses, and that's why we freak the fuck out with food sometimes. Well, some people can, because your body is like, oh shit, we have all this fucking sugar. So your body's just becoming like, yeah, why don't we get all the sugar all the time? Because it's like, it's so easy to get it. So your body's like, fuck it, like, why don't we just not get that? And then it's hard for your body to be running on anything else other than like carbs, or like bad carbs, whatever you want to use it, whatever term you want to say it. So it's things like that. It's something like that. So when I'm doing this, what happens also is that like everything hurts, and there's always a couple times like at the beginning of it, I end up like tweaking my back a little bit, and that's just because it's the whole growing. It's literally growing. It's growing pains. It's because my body is literally adapting to a new sort of lifting that what I'm doing now, and that's always the first thing. It's always like my sciatic and my lower back and my glutes, because once those things get really tight and really strong, then everything else is great with my body. Everything else is like, because once you get that in your core, you're fucking solid. That's the biggest thing I tell people, especially men that are like in their 30s, like my age. I'm like, just do abs every day, and do light abs, and you squat more than you do anything else. You should squat the most, do legs the most, because if you build up your legs, then everything else kind of goes with it, because your legs are your biggest body part. And plus too, like a lot of guys they have like these tiny little bird legs. I always thought I had small calves. I always thought I had the smallest calves in the world. I was so embarrassed by my calves, and then I realized like, oh shit, like a lot of guys don't have big calves. But also I'm like, did I just go to school with a lot of like I went to school with a lot of athletic people, and a lot of people who were just built. And plus I was only 6'1", like on my basketball team. I was probably the second shortest guy on my team. There was a guy that was like maybe like 5'11", and then I was 6'1", and a half. And then everyone else was like 6'3" to 6'5", 6'6", 6'7". So like, And then I played football, and I was always like, I played positions where I was always undersized, and I always had the mindset of like, I was always a smaller guy. And so, and I think it's a good thing, because what it did was just always made me have this mindset of, you can never be good enough, and you always should be working harder. And it's also the mindset I have too when it comes to like work, which is not which is not probably the smartest. Sometimes I'm like, maybe it's not the most healthiest, because it's wild. Because of the fact that, what happens is like, I work with people, and like I just give a lot of people the benefit of the doubt, and I think that they're smarter than I am, which is really stupid of me to do. And then come to find out, I'm like, you guys are actually not anywhere as, I'm way more intelligent than all y'all, and I work way harder than all y'all, and I don't understand why y'all are like this. So yeah, gross. But yeah, anyway, guys, I guess that's all I really wanted to talk to you about mostly on the thing. My battery's halfway, because I was a dipshit and I didn't fucking charge any of the batteries. So either I'm charging one, I charged one for a little bit, for like 20 minutes, and that's at halfway now, and I have another one charging right now. Most likely, if this thing goes off, I'm either going to just cut it short, or, well, I'll just cut back in. I'll probably just cut back in, because I just do this. John, don't be lazy. But anyway, what we should do is, we should do the video of the week now. All right, guys, here we go.
There's no shame in saying that you wish you weren't circumcised. The intactivist community needs more men, not ashamed to tell the truth about their own personal story.
Welcome to the John Show with your host, John Doogie Clouser.
You guys want to know a funny story? So I have a really, really weird story. So I remember getting circumcised. I didn't get circumcised till I was like 6, 7 years old. So I got adopted. I don't know if you guys know that, but I got adopted. And so, of course, like when I got adopted, well, when I was born, my mom didn't get me circumcised. I don't think so I'm assuming that I'm assuming all my brothers are not circumcised. Anyway, that was weird to think like that. And so, my back's starting to hurt now. And, so, I'm like, I remember, because like my mom, she wanted me to get circumcised, and the whole reasoning behind it was because she told me when I was older, the reason why I ended up doing it was, one, because like we're Jewish, two, for cleanliness, and she's like, I just didn't want you to look different than everyone else in the locker room. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm like, none of us, not once did any of us ever bring up anything about oh my God, Joey, he's like fucking circumcised, or like, never once did we never talked about that kind of shit. We were never meat gazing on each other, except we did have a buddy. He was the really good athlete of the group, the really like this crazy, really, really good athlete. And he was so into that shit. Like what he would do, like he'd get on the bus, like we'd have away games, and he would get on the bus way faster than all of us, and he would go and lay down like somewhere like the middle. And these are things that you could not do now. If you did this shit now, like people would be so fucking pissed, and he would have definitely gotten in really big trouble for it. But he would like go and lay down, and he would pull his dick and balls out and just have him laying down, like laying him out on the, like just laying him out. Just laying out. And then we would walk by, and he's like, hey guy, he's like, hey John. I'm like, oh, what's up, Eric? And then he would do it to everyone. And then that was his thing. Like, and he would always like try to take our cell phones, and try to take a picture of his nuts. Like, like from the movie Waiting, how like they had the ball game, and he would take his ball sacks, make it look like a brain, and he would take a picture of his nuts. That's another thing he would love to do too. And that was back, when we all had flip phones, and none of us when none of us had passcodes. Like you could make, it was so funny because you can make a passcode on those phones, but we're like, what the fuck would you make a passcode for? That's fucking stupid. Like, it's like, why would you make a passcode? And now it's kind of like, wait, you don't have a passcode on your phone? That's wild. Out of all the things, like that's the one device that you do have a passcode on. I mean, I mean, I guess you do have a pest control and everything. But yeah. So, but yeah, I do remember. I remember getting circumcised. Yeah. The doctor did a pretty good job because I could still see like this scar on it. And I remember because it was so wild. Because like, I remember there being like, I remember being a kid and like, I'm like, what the fuck? And like, still having like little bits of, stitching that was still in there and having to like having to like pull it out. Almost like it was like a blackhead kind of thing. It was wild. I know this is probably weird to say, but this is the thing. Like this is what happened. Like it happened when I was an older kid. So funny. It's it's about to die. So I'm about to cut off at any time now, at any second, and yep. And then we'll have to go back, and I'll have to merge those two clips together, and that's what we're gonna do, and then it'll be just what we do. You know what I mean? And but yeah, that's my circumcision story. Voila. Hold on. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is part 2. All right, and we're back. We're back, guys. We got a new battery in. We got a short time, so like let's look at I guess we should do like the rest of the videos of this week. Should we watch them? All right, here's the first one. Here we go. Oh no, that's not the right thing. All right, here it is. Here we go.
I'm trying to save water.
All right, here we go.
I'm trying to save water.
And what race are you?
Indian, but people in India don't really have clean water right now.
Yeah,
So
but you're not in India, right?
I am Indian, but
You're not in India.
I'm not. Yeah, but I'm trying to save water for the people that are there.
Our water has nothing to do with their water.
All the water is connected.
Okay.
Like he was making a good point. He's kind of like, like just because you're Indian doesn't mean doesn't mean you have to stop taking showers and stuff or baths. And then she's like, well, the patriarchy. He's like, okay, whatever. I'm not going to try to engage with this one. It's like I'm good. I'm just not going to try to do that. All right, here's the next video.
Y'all, so I was scissoring this girl, right? And when our cats connected and we got to rubbing back and forth, something crunchy was on hers, and it was like scraping at my bean, scraping at my cat. So I said, let's disconnect real quick. Something is crunchy down there. So when we disconnected, it was like this. And then I was like, let me see your cat real quick because something is really scratching me. So I go down there, y'all. Why she had pieces of a Skyrim pad in her cat? I said, why is it pieces of metal in your cat? She was like, because I be trying to clean my cat and I was so scared to come over here and mess with you. So I cleaned it with a Skyrim pad and not a regular towel because I wanted to make sure it was clean. I said, yo, coochie is not no pot. You're not supposed to clean your coochie with no Skyrim pad. I get the idea, but you're not supposed to do no shit like that. She was just like, I know, I was just so scared. And I didn't know no bits and particles was gonna crack off into my cat, y'all. It was so much metal off up into there. She was scratching on my cat. Now I can't scissor until further notice. I gotta let my cat heal because it's all scratched up. I tried to put witch hazel down there. It burnt me seriously to death. So y'all, what the fuck, man? Like, why would you clean your cat out with a Skyrim pad? I thought she had like crackers down there or something from like eating, and the crackers like dropped down.
I love it. I love it when I hear like studs talk about their problems with women, because it's like, yeah, these are problems you deal with women. You know what studs stand for? Or at least this is what I've been told. Studs. STUDS. Still tits under that shirt. Under dat with the D, dat shirt. I know, right? I learned that from a chick who, I wouldn't say she was not a stud. Kinda. She did do track in college in her undergrad. And when I met her, she had just broken up with her girlfriend of like 5 years. And I was the first person she was dating after that, which was crazy awesome. Because she had a lot of pent up stuff and she took it out on me. And then she tried to do some like fucking wild, backseat kind of therapy on me because she was getting her master's degree in therapy. And I'm like, yeah, you're okay, cool. Go ahead. And then like, it just didn't realize it didn't work. It wasn't going to work out because I was kind of an asshole compared to what she was needing at the time. And it was just a lot. Neither one of us were in the place. And then it took me about a year to get over her. It was crazy. Good time. But that's what happens when you date studs, still tits under that shirt. All right. Anyway, next video. That should be the title of this episode, Studs. Anyway, here we go.
Y'all, so I was...
No.
I got catcalled twice on this walk. It's not a compliment. It's constant. It's exhausting. And it happens to all of us.
That is a guy who is transitioning to a woman. Or it was a guy who is now transitioning to a woman who is now a woman, I guess. I don't know when there's a time where you become the woman versus when you're the guy. Is there like a middle stage? I don't know. I don't know these things because I'm not going through these processes. I'm not going through this process. So yeah, no, these don't happen to you, dude. Just kind of weird. I hate when, like, see, that's the stuff, like, ladies, that's the kind of stuff we're kind of tell you, like, some dudes are going to try to take the spotlight off y'all, when it's y'all's spotlight. It's just weird. It's just wildly weird. But anyway, here is the next video.
Yeah, I can't get over the fact how sexy you look. Like, damn, who are you? What have you done with my boyfriend?
And guess what?
What?
This is my girlfriend.
Hey, what about her?
She's so sexy today.
Really?
I love these videos because I love posting them online. I just say, like, this could be us. I just think it's great. I just think they're great. But yeah, guys, I think that's going to be the end of the videos. Just 'cause we're pressed for time, man. Got only about a minute and a half left. But if you've gotten this far, I want to say thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. I know this is the first episode doing this. There's going to be some hiccups. But we fixed them. We're going to fix them. We're going to get better. And then we're going to do other things later on in this process. And then it was great that I was able to talk through the podcast or the vlog stuff, what I should be doing. So yeah, this is where we're at. It's a new year, guys. It's a new year, new me, doing a new podcast, style thing, version, look. Anyway, yeah. Hope you guys are well, swell. Yeah, that's it, guys. Tell your princess I said hi. Look, wash your hands. Look both ways. Tell your princess I said hi. Look out for deer. Do all those things, guys. Hope you guys staying warm because the weather's about to change again. It's going to get hot again. It's going to get warm. It's going to be back in the 40s to the 50s. Good golf weather. And it's going to be packed at the golf course. And it's all going to be crazy. And then it's all still going to be path only. Anyway, that's it, guys. That's the podcast. And all right. Well, good night.